no matter who the opponent is, just go out and kill him. If he's small, short, big, fat, tall, just go out and kill him.
No, because Chuck always interrupt me. Don't interrupt me, Chuck. I'm going to punch you right in your face. I'm telling you. Okay.
With his words and sometimes with his fists, Shaquille O'Neal has never hesitated to exhibit savage levels of disrespect whenever he felt appropriate. Like the time in 1993 when a young Shaq got tangled up with Bill Laimbeer from the Pistons. Alvin Robertson came to Laimbeer's defense and tries to contain Shaq. They start exchanging words, and then Robertson gives Shaq a little shove. Shaq wasn't having it and wasted no time in punching Robertson in the face. Afterward, Shaq showed zero remorse and said he did the right thing.
I think I did the right thing. Why am I gonna let someone hit me and me not, fight back? It makes me look soft. And, I'm not a soft person. And if it happens again, I gotta do the same thing.
Fast forward 13 years when Shaq was a member of the Heat. After Andrew Bynum had just scored and gave Shaq a little shove, Shaq had to immediately let Bynum know what was up, with a hard, disrespectful elbow to the face. Damn, Shaq doesn't play if he feels like he's being stepped to. But sometimes the disrespect is completely unprovoked. Like in 1999 when Shaq went in on Chris Dudley with the vicious two-handed dunk, and then disrespectfully shoved Dudley to the floor like he was some kind of worthless ragdoll. And Shaq will readily unleash his disrespect on NBA champions too. For example, in 2015, when Shaq posted a picture of 5 Lakers legends, himself included, alongside a picture of 5 iconic Bulls players, with the caption, "We would beat 'em by 50. It wasn't long before Scottie Pippen fired back, writing, "All I know is we won 6 titles, twice the amount you claimed while in LA." To which Shaq responded with a photoshopped image replacing Pippen with Jordan, and writing, "I seen most of those finals. You did okay, but this guy did most of the work. Steve Kerr and Ron Harper deserve more credit than you. Remember, I was Batman, you was Robin. I was Puffy, you was Maze." But the disrespect didn't stop there, because Shaq then went on his podcast and called Pippen a bum.
I don't let bums disrespect me. I'm the bridge, he's the water. He will always be under me.
But calling Pippen a bum is nothing compared to how Shaq almost knocked out another Bulls player, Brad Miller. After being fouled, Shaq wasted no time in retaliating. Luckily, Shaq missed, or that might have been a knockout. What's crazy though is it looks like the hard foul was actually delivered by Charles Oakley. Shaq may have missed that time, but back in 1997, Greg Ostertag wasn't as lucky as Miller. It started earlier that year when the Jazz eliminated the Lakers in the conference semifinals. Despite the victory, Ostertag was frustrated he wasn't getting the respect he thought he deserved. And he said, "But I guess that's why he's playing golf right now, and I'm in the Western Conference Finals." When the two met the following season, Shaq hadn't forgotten about this, and the two exchanged words as the Lakers were leaving the floor and Utah was coming out for practice. According to a radio reporter who witnessed the altercation, Shaq proceeded to slap Ostertag so hard that he knocked him to the floor.
As the Los Angeles Lakers were leaving the court and the Utah Jazz were arriving for practice this morning, as Greg Ostertag left the floor, Shaquille O'Neal confronted him on this floor, right where we're sitting. Words were exchanged, and before anyone knew it, Shaquille O'Neal had slapped Greg Ostertag, who's 7'2", 270, and knocked him down onto the floor. Ostertag didn't get up. He's okay, but he didn't get up right then.
Shaq disrespected another former Jazz player when he told Donovan Mitchell that Mitchell doesn't have what it takes to get to the next level on live TV during an awkward post-game interview.
Father, this is Shaq. I said tonight that you are one of my favorite players, but you don't have what it takes to get to the next level. I said it on purpose. I want you to hear it. What do you have to say about that?
All right. That's it.
That's it?
All right, that's it.
Okay, cool.
And this was right after Mitchell had just scored 36 points in a win for the Jazz. Shaq also got into it with Mitchell's then teammate Rudy Gobert in 2019, when Gobert wasn't selected as an All-Star before getting a bit emotional about the snub.
I thought there was a chance that I might not make it, but just surprised. I think it's disrespectful. I mean, I feel disrespected. Sorry.
Shaq responded by saying there's no crying in basketball, telling Gobert to man up and put some icy hot on his face.
There's no crying in basketball. Man up.
I love
Get
that.
some icy hot on your face, Rudy.
Then, when the Jazz gave Gobert a $200 million contract, Shaq threw even more shade.
I'm looking at that BS contract that your boy from Utah just got.
Oh yeah, what do you think about that contract?
Yeah, we're gonna
Hey, man,
Rudy, I mean, he got 200 million, Shaq.
200.
I'm not going to hate, but this should be an inspiration to all the little kids out there. If you average 11 points in the NBA, you can get 200 million.
And when his co-host on TNT, Kenny Smith, said Gobert was one of the best centers in the league, Shaq was not having it.
This guy is one of the best. Awesome. No, he ain't one of. Stop it. He's one of the best. Hey, the guy's a. Hey, stop it. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's one. Then Shaq fired up Photoshop again and posted a picture of himself dunking on Gobert, writing, "I would have had 45 points, 16 rebounds, 10 missed free throws in 3 quarters. He would have had 11 points, 4 rebounds, and fouled out in 3 quarters. I'm a G." Hall of Famer Bill Walton has also felt the wrath of Shaq's disrespect, starting when Walton had some unkind words for Shaq after Shaq was picked up by the Suns.
Doing absolutely nothing, saying he couldn't play at all. Now he said he's going to win the championship. What's up with this? 6 weeks ago, Shaquille O'Neal was on the verge of the all-time consecutive foul-out rule, and Pat Riley saved him. This is going to be very, very tough for Shaq to work his way through.
So you're saying, bottom line, this is no win for Shaq?
I don't think he can win in this situation, because what he did in Miami by saying, I can't play at all and now I'm going to win the championship, that is just absolutely ludicrous. And Shaq's arrogance is an insult to people who think.
I heard Mr. Walton's comment, and I think Mr. Walton has broken the big man pecking order code, Ordinance 2257, which means his resume isn't quite good enough to speak on what I've done. You remember what happened to Greg Osadak? You remember that, right? You was there, right? Okay, so enough said. That's the type of guy that I am. So, like I said, Mr. Walton has broken the big man ordinance code of 225.27. No big man under should talk about a big man above. It's just not right.
And you know Shaq didn't forget about this, because years later, he went on to disrespect Walton 2 more times. First, when he said Walton shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, and then when he said he had a problem with Walton being included amongst the NBA's top 75 all-time greatest players.
You know who I've always had a problem with? Bill Walton.
I think a lot of people.
Yeah, you say that all the time.
Yeah, because he only got 6,000 points in the NBA.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know what that's about.
Really, if you were gonna pick Bill Walton.
Another member on the NBA's top 75 list that Shaq disrespected happened to be one of his own teammates, the late legend Kobe Bryant.
There was so much conversation during the Shaq years. Were you guys friends?
No.
This started way back in 1998, in a game of pickup during the lockout when a young and cocky Bryant rubbed Shaq the wrong way. And the two quickly got into it after Shaq reportedly slapped Bryant.
We're playing a pickup game. It was during a lockout season, Southwest College, playing a pickup game. We're on opposite teams.
Right.
And trash talking.
Yes.
And you kept saying, yeah, take that little. I'm like, I'm looking around. Oh, me.
Yes.
Right? And I said, well, hold on. Ain't gonna be too many more of those little,
Yeah, I remember that.
And what'd you say? Well, what you gonna do about it? Well, what you gonna do about it? And then that's the next thing I knew, I saw a big hand coming this way. And I remember going this way. And I remember throwing some lollipop. The Polynese came and caught. And then they all just kind of broke us apart, broke us up.
A couple of years later, Shaq said he thought Kobe was playing too selfishly to win. Upon his arrival in LA, assistant coach Tex Winter said he saw a lot of hatred from O'Neal directed at Kobe, and he observed O'Neal influencing the entire team against Kobe, routinely telling management the Lakers couldn't win a championship with Bryant. But even after they won a championship, the feuding didn't stop, as Bryant became disappointed when Shaq came into training camp out of shape.
Me and Shaq sit down all the time, and I say, dude, if your lazy ass was in shape.
I hear you saying all the time, and he
takes it. I tell him all the time.
But O'Neal didn't see it that way, saying when it was clear that everything went through me, the outcome was 67-15, playing with enthusiasm, the city jumping up and down in a parade. And now we're 23-11. You figure it out. I don't know why anybody else would want to change other than selfish reasons. The two ultimately won 3 championships together. And although there were plenty more disrespectful comments exchanged, after Kobe's untimely passing, Shaq showed love and respect, eloquently summarizing their relationship.
The guys were complaining. Said, Shaq, Kobe's not passing the ball. I said, I'll talk to him. I said, Kobe, there's no I in team. And Kobe said, I know, but there's an in me in that.
But Shaq wasn't nearly as kind after Damian Lillard insulted Shaq's rap skills.
I think I rap better than Shaq.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
You might.
I've heard Shaq stuff.
And Shaq responded to Dame by releasing a disrespectful diss track.
MVP candidates, you are not one. Platinum plaques on my wall, go and get you some. Lyrically, I'm 3 times finals MVP. I can't believe some guard as a team. How you say that you better than these when you ain't got more cheddar than these? What you talking about? Legendary, I'm a hip-hop scholar. I'm trying to get $1 billion, gives a fuck about $1. Little boys better stay in their place next time they ask you about Shaq, man, fix your face.
Even though this may have been a lighthearted diss, things were much more competitive between Shaq and David Robinson. This seemingly started at the 1994 All-Star Game, when Shaq was targeted by the league's best big men. Shaq made just 2 out of 12 field goals in a game where you usually see little to no defense. Afterward, Shaq vowed revenge on everyone involved. He began his revenge tour against the Admiral on March 6, 1994, Shaq's birthday. Shaq scored 32 points, but Robinson stole the spotlight from the birthday boy. Robinson finished the game with an incredible 36 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 blocks, and 3 steals. Of course, the media did everything possible to turn this into a war between these two. And soon Robinson got sick of it, saying everyone's so concerned about his feelings. Who is Shaq anyways? Now here's where things get interesting. Shaq actually had his eyes set on the Admiral from an early age, when he played high school ball in San Antonio. In fact, Shaq wrote in his book that during this time, he once asked Robinson for an autograph, only to have Robinson blow him off. And as Shaq blossomed into a star, the two couldn't have been any different in their style of play and how they carried themselves on and off the court. Shaq also didn't appreciate how Robinson eclipsed him for the scoring title in the 93-94 season, which only happened because Robinson scored 71 points during the final game of the season. Afterwards, Shaq said, "If I hadn't been triple teamed and was selfish and tried to score every time I touched the ball, I could have scored 72. Shaq did get some revenge on Robinson during the 96 All-Star Game with a nasty dunk over Robinson. But Shaq infamously disrespected Robinson when it was revealed that Robinson had never denied Shaq an autograph, and the whole encounter was a complete lie.
It's not true, I made it all up. Mr. Robinson, I apologize. I was taught to play with ferocity. I need to be upset. You know, something has to be said in an article or on TV about me for me to respond.
Dwight Howard is another player who Shaq has appeared to be a little jealous of throughout the years. Both were drafted with the #1 overall pick by the Magic. Both ended up with the Lakers, and both have a Superman alter ego. This had led to Shaq developing some serious resentment towards Howard. Howard is actually a fan of Shaq.
I enjoy watching Shaq do what he do. I think he's the most dominant player to ever play. Like, there's no player as dominant as Shaq. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was going crazy. I remember in 11th grade watching him play against the Kembe Mutombo in the finals. Like, catching it every time, elbow to the chest, turn around, dunk on him every time. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
But even though Howard had established himself as one of the best big men in the game by 2012, Shaq refused to show any kind of respect.
Dwight Howard is the best big man in the game.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Listen, you need to stop that. You need to, hey,
listen,
you need to let this Superman hatred go.
Ain't got nothing to do with it.
Hey.
Ain't got nothing to do with it. Listen to me. Andrew Bynum is a true big man. Back you down, jump hook. Dwight Howard has 1 or 2 moves on the block. His one move is to run and jump hook, and the other move is to pick and roll, get it slam.
And he's going to get the same number of points. He's a much better defender and a much better rebounder.
No way.
I tell you what.
Then, when the Lakers re-signed Howard in 2019, Shaq refused to even acknowledge who he was.
Lakers just signed Dwight Howard. How do you feel about that?
Who?
Dwight Howard. You don't know?
Shaq even found a way to invoke Dwight when Kobe Bryant said in an interview that he'd have 12 rings if Shaq worked harder. Initially, Shaq defended himself, saying Kobe should have passed the ball more, and this seemed like it would be yet another chapter in the Kobe-Shaq beef saga. But after Kobe squashed it on Twitter, Shaq replied and turned it into an opportunity to disrespect Dwight. And after Howard won his first championship with the Lakers, Shaq again used it as an opportunity to disrespect him.
So a lot of players on their little Instagram bragging like they were the reason they got the championship. I ain't gonna say no names. There was a lot of that going on. I ain't gonna say no names. You
don't have to.
Sit your ass down. You didn't do nothing. Stop it.
But I already know who you're talking about.
You know it too. I know you know who I'm talking about. Stop it. There Front runner. By the way, bandwagon jumper. Stop it. Stop it. Don't be talking to me like you know players. Sit your ass down.
By the way, Shaq just can't seem to stop disrespecting Howard. Because even after Howard left the NBA to play in Taiwan, Shaq can't resist trying to clown him.
He's supposed to have 30 points playing against dude 5'8".
There you go. You're killing it,
Great
man.
job.
Look at that.
Listen, this league reminds me of the Lifetime Fitness League. Every Saturday when I go work out on Saturday.
Lifetime Fitness League.
Yeah, Lifetime Fitness
doing
League.
this,
Cut it
though.
out.
You don't do 38 and 25 rebounds and 9 assists.
Okay.
Come on, man. 4 blocks.
Great job, Dwight. I'm proud of you.
Another one of Shaq's long-running feuds was with JaVale McGee, who Shaq disrespected on several occasions during his TNT segment, Shaq'd in a Fool.
Oh, teammate.
I forgot about that.
Eventually, McGee had enough of the disrespect.
It's when a GM or owner of a team starts thinking that and they're like, no, we don't want to sign him because that's now affecting my livelihood and how I pay my bills and how I feed my family. So that's when I was just like, it's the last straw. Like,
JaVale decided to go after Shaq on Twitter, writing, "Shaq, get your nuts out of my mouth." To which Shaq replied, "Don't be acting like a G, I'll smack your bum ass. You the one that be looking stupid." Things were escalating quickly, with lots of other disrespectful tweets exchanged. And then Shaq photoshopped McGee into a bum. Damn, Shaq really did him dirty. That's when Kevin Durant made comments in defense of his teammate.
He only wants to be respected just like anybody else. And I understand Shaq works for a company that wants him to do that type of stuff and make fun of players. It's cool and funny, but when you just keep doing it time and time and time again for no reason, it's definitely childish.
But Shaq made it clear the beef wasn't over, and he wasn't done disrespecting McGee. Things eventually got so out of hand that Shaq's own mom had to step in to finally get Shaq to stop.
When your mom has to step in and his mom is stepping in?
It didn't get out of hand, but my mother is someone who I love and respect, and she told me to stop it and don't bring it up again, so I'm not going to talk about it ever again. His name won't ever come out of my mouth ever again.
But that still may not be as bad as the way Shaq had disrespected Charles Barkley on multiple occasions. Starting in 1999, when Shaq shoved Barkley during a game and things quickly escalated.
There's a swing by O'Neal, and they got a brouhaha on the floor.
Now that they're co-hosts on TNT, you'd think they'd move past that, right? Wrong.
Gets so personal when we're talking about Game 5.
No, because Chuck always interrupt me. Don't interrupt me, Chuck. I'm going to punch you right in your face. I'm telling you. Okay.
Okay, enough about Shaq. Now it's time for you to see the 10 times Michael Jordan disrespected NBA players. Go ahead and click the image on your screen, and you can watch the full video right now.